So part 2 of the review on this 186. I do apologise, I did actually forget to mention how much this particular kit is. So again, if you haven't watched part 1, just a very quick sort of synopsis, if you will. So a dual action gravity fed airbrush from BARTSHARP. I've been through all the other bits of gubbins if you want to see that other video. I've popped the 7cc cup on instead of the 2cc. I've just put some water through the 2cc and literally sort of down and back, and that has exhausted even the water. As thin as water is, it's literally sort of very it does 2cc's. It's just not enough for what I want to show you. Okay, so my paint of choice is an XF14 thin. The reason it says thin on there, a lot of people, myself included, when I buy a Tamiya paint, and when you buy it and it's brand new and you take it home and you crack the lid off, what you'll find is it's sort of depleted a little bit. It's almost like it's only 2/3 full. So what I do, and what a lot of other Tamiya paint users do, they top that paint up with X20A, Tamiya's own thinner, lid back on, give it a good shake, and it's good, in my opinion, and many others, for the life of the pot of paint. You don't need to thin it anymore. It's good for the life of the paint. Okay, my test subject is an old Victor that got built and broken and smashed and one thing and another. And I've chosen this colour paint, obviously, to go over the top of that. So straight away, I'm not a pourer, I'm a pipetter. So a pipette, couple of these, fill in colour cup up like you do. Okay, and that's that. Now, lid back on. So I'm just going to dock the gun, lid back on. If you're new to airbrushing, trust me, that is one of the things that you need to do, put your lid back on. The amount of paint that I've lost where I've been focusing on something else, turn round, my paint's here without lid on, it's all over carpet. Okay, so gravity fed, as mentioned before, so it's down for air and back for paint. I always wear a glove when I'm painting, and the reason that I do that, fully down, and then once I start just to pull that paint back, and once I know that I've got flow like that, then I can introduce my test subjects. What I'm going to do as well, I'm just going to sort of accentuate what we're talking about in review 1, which is your needle dialing in, and that's for your airflow. So all the way in, like this, all the way in, down for air, you can't pull back for paint because that has locked your needle in. Okay, so again, talking back to some of the guys that I have from club and I do tutorials, so just wind it out, and on back of my glove, down for air, back for paint, in a bit more, down for air, there you go, look. I'm just going to wind that in another quarter turn, so when I'm pulling my trigger now, look at my finger, guys, it's all the way back, it won't come any further, and if you just look, I am still getting paint. Okay, and that's the introduction that I use. Onto the test subject, then you can see that this has had plenty of the guys practicing panel lines, and a little bit of priming and one thing and another. So straight on, so down for air, and we're pulling back for paint. Nice and steady. You're not having to find your biting point for how much paint's coming out, simply because of this little piece here at the back. Okay, it doesn't matter, because I've wound that in, it doesn't matter how hard I pull back, I'm only gonna get the same amount of paint. It's as simple as that. So nice and smooth, that's just the right amount of paint coming out of that airbrush for that mist coat that you cannot achieve with a rattle can or a paintbrush. And it's because I've set my airbrush up correctly. I've got the right amount of thinner in my paint. I've got the PSI right, 15 PSI. I've got my finger pulling back as hard as I can on that trigger, but because it's locked in, it won't come back anymore. I mean, you can play with that, okay, and you can adjust your settings. You can adjust your settings, but definitely prompting you to use this little piece here. Just wound that out just a little bit more. Back of my glove. Yeah, getting paint out onto my test subject, look, and you can see now. Okay, and I am actually just going to sort of paint over these panel lines, just like this. Now, I'm not teaching anybody how to suck eggs on painting. You should all be, if you're airbrushing, you know, you're quite au fait with that. That's not what this review is about. I'm certainly not teaching anybody how to airbrush. I'm just talking how I do it, and you can see, because I've got the paint right and because I've got the airflow right, and I'm just going to go over these panel lines, look, just like this, colouring them in, a little bit too much there, just colouring them in. Let's see if I've got some more. I have got some more just on this part then, Gary. So, testing off subjects. In fact, let me just go back at glove. I've got a little bit too much paint. I'm just going to wind in a bit. That's better. So if I'm going to sort of paint this now, off subject, I'm down and then I'm in. And you should be able to see just that nice variation, just that nice colour change. This is a nice airbrush. That's why we're here, that's what I'm discussing. Certainly not discussing my painting techniques. Okay, but we're dialing that amount of air in at the back of that airbrush. You can see I'm not getting any sort of gloopy areas. It's going on. I'm keeping my hand moving nice and freely. I haven't put the water trap on. I really don't need to show you that. I haven't changed the needle size. I've left the 0.3 in. Okay, but for you guys that are sort of looking and thinking, you know, I've always fancied doing this panel lining thing, you can see now that I'm just getting the right amount of mist coverage over that. You see that, Gary? I'm just coming onto the back of here. And what you're getting is you're just getting that nice coverage where your panel line, your demarcation's still showing through, but the amount of paint that's coming through is controlled by the settings on your gun. It's as simple as that. It's a lovely airbrush. It's really, really nice. I know in video one I said it were weighty, but actually it's not that bad. I'm certainly not going to weigh it and start sort of ranting about how much it weighs compared to other airbrushes and other models. I'm more interested in, you know, I'm painting with it and I'm listening for that psst, psst, where I've got a blockage or the air's not coming through quite right. The crown at the front, when we just set this up just a minute ago, it's really funny actually, because on the Vida, what I have to do is I have to wind the crown right in and then break it. Obviously, because I'm familiar with using that technique, I did put that on here, wound the crown all the way in and then broke it. And you know the bubbling that you get where there's usually a blockage in there. And my colour cup started sort of bubbling up. And what's actually I've found is you do really have to sort of nip that. You really do have to nip that crown all the way in. So as far as actual spraying and painting is concerned, really, really nice. Really nice. It's covering exactly what I want. Just away from subject just enough. Let's just get in a little bit closer on a sort of dark area. This is your 0.3 then. This is your 0.3. Let's just have a look here. It's only my test subject. It's only what I use just just to let other people have a go really when I'm in sort of introducing them to airbrush, because you know some guys, they come on it, and I've got one in next week, and he's actually bought an airbrush and a compressor and never done it before in his life, and when he comes up to my workshop he'll be absolutely scared stiff that he's going to do something wrong, not get it right, etc, etc. I'll coach him through it and he'll be fine, but I'm more interested in how does this airbrush work. And this airbrush for me, yeah, is working really nice, and that's with 0.3 in. As far as cleaning is concerned,